Lily sat on her bed, the soft glow of her phone illuminating her face as she swiped through profile after profile. It was another night, another attempt at finding someone on the dating app. She wasn't expecting much, just the usual banter, maybe a date or two if she was lucky. Lily was 23, attractive and confident in her own skin. She had never had trouble connecting with men, but something about the dating scene these days felt different. As she scrolled through endless faces and short descriptions, one name caught her eye. Ryan, 26. Adventurous spirit, lover of books and movies, looking for something real. His profile picture was charming, a man in a white button-up shirt, standing in front of a picturesque sunset, a confident smile on his face. He looked warm, inviting, and easy to talk to, just her type. She swiped right. It didn't take long for Ryan to message her back. "Hey there, Lily," the message read, his words casual but confident. "What's the most exciting thing you've done lately?" Lily felt a small rush of excitement. It was a simple question, but it felt different than the usual "hey" or "what's up" messages she usually got. They quickly fell into conversation, exchanging small talk, discussing their love for movies, their favorite books, and their shared passion for travel. Ryan had an easy way about him, and it wasn't long before Lily found herself eagerly awaiting his messages. She wasn't in love, not by a long shot, but something about their chemistry was undeniable. Over the next few days, their conversations intensified. They talked late into the night, sometimes until dawn. He seemed to have all the right things to say. He shared personal stories about his childhood, his dreams, and his heartbreaks. Lily did the same. In a way, Ryan felt like the perfect match. He listened intently to her, responded thoughtfully, and always seemed to know just what she needed to hear. Then came the first moment that set her on edge. "Just so you know, I think I'm falling for you," Ryan texted one night. Lily paused, her thumb hovering over the screen. They had only been talking for a week, and though their conversations were deep, this felt too soon. "I think you're amazing too," she replied cautiously. But her gut was telling her something was off. She had heard the phrase, "I'm falling for you," from guys before, but it had never felt as intense, as urgent, as Ryan's words did. The next morning, the texts kept coming, but Ryan wasn't just asking about her day anymore. Now he was inquiring about where she was going, what she was doing, and who she was with. At first it was subtle, questions that could be passed off as harmless curiosity, but soon it escalated. He wanted to know about her friends, her plans, her habits. And when she didn't reply immediately, the messages became more insistent. "I thought we had something special. Why haven't you responded,
Are you with someone
Lily?"
else?
Lily had never experienced this before. She had been on dating apps long enough to recognize early warning signs, but this was different. She shrugged it off, attributing it to him just being excited. Maybe he liked her more than she realized, but deep down, she couldn't shake the unease. One night, she received a notification. It was a photo from Ryan. The image wasn't of anything exciting, just a picture of her favorite cafe taken from across the street. It was a cozy, familiar spot that she had mentioned liking once, but the chill ran down her spine when she realized she had never told him she was there. Her heart raced. How had he known? Had he been watching her? Lily couldn't get the image out of her mind. That picture of the cafe, taken so casually, felt like a violation, a breach of trust. But she told herself it was nothing. Maybe Ryan had been nearby just by coincidence and snapped the photo without thinking. After all, he'd been sweet, charming, and they had connected so well. Maybe she was overthinking it. But the next day, the texts grew more frequent, more direct, and increasingly possessive. "Just wanted to check in, make sure you're safe. Who are you with?" Ryan's messages were always polite but felt like an interrogation. Lily felt suffocated. She tried to ignore it. She blocked him once, thinking it was a momentary lapse in his behavior. but he created a new profile under the name Liam and found her again. This time, his message read, "You can't get away from me, Lily. I know you like me too much to block me again. You'll never escape." That was when Lily realized this was no longer just about a simple dating app conversation. Ryan, whoever he was, had crossed a line. His obsession was no longer just harmless flirting. Lily's heart skipped a beat when, just an hour after the last text, she received a new message from Ryan's new profile. The message wasn't a question. It was a statement. "I'm outside your apartment building, looking for you." Lily couldn't sleep that night. The message from Ryan's new profile echoed in her mind over and over again. "I'm outside your apartment building, looking for you." She stared at her phone screen for a few moments, her hands trembling as she tried to calm herself. She told herself it was a mistake, a bad joke. Ryan wasn't outside her apartment. He didn't even know where she lived, right? But then she remembered the photo from the cafe, the one she had tried to brush off as coincidence. She had never mentioned the cafe to him after that first conversation. She had only mentioned it once, in passing, weeks before. "He's been watching me." Lily's heart began to race. The weight of his words, his actions, started to sink in. She grabbed her phone and dialed her best friend, Emily. "Hey, Emily, I don't know what to do. Ryan's been acting weird. He's stalking me. I think he's been outside my apartment," Lily said, her voice shaking. Emily's response was calm but firm. "Lily, listen to me. I've been hearing a lot about this kind of thing from people. Stalkers can be unpredictable. Do you feel safe? Can you leave the apartment and come stay with me for a few days?" Lily hesitated. I can't just leave, Emily. What if it's nothing? I'll be fine. I just need to think." But as soon as she hung up, the fear began to claw at her. She couldn't stay in her apartment any longer. Every sound felt like it was him. Every knock at the door, every rustle outside. She had to get out. The next few days passed in a haze. Lily stayed at Emily's apartment, paranoid and exhausted, constantly checking her phone. Ryan's messages had stopped for a while, but the silence was worse than the messages themselves. It was like he was waiting for her to make a move. Lily couldn't understand it. Why was he doing this? They barely knew each other. Wasn't this all supposed to be a game? An innocent search for companionship? But then, it happened again. The message appeared on her screen, as cold as the last time. "I see you, Lily. I've been watching you. You can't hide forever." Lily froze. She checked the timestamp. He had sent it just seconds ago. But there was no notification of a new location or a new message. Her phone buzzed again. "I'm closer than you think." Her blood ran cold as she glanced out the window, half expecting to see Ryan standing there staring back at her. But what she saw instead made her even more afraid. Someone in a dark hoodie was walking past, slowly, stopping at every apartment door. Could it be him? The days after Ryan's messages became a blur of fear and paranoia. Lily had done everything she could to block him on every platform. But Ryan found a way around every barrier. New accounts, new names. He was relentless. Each time she tried to block him, a new message would appear. Sometimes it would simply be a picture of her taken from afar. Other times it would be a phrase that chilled her to the bone. You look beautiful today. I'm so proud of you." Lily couldn't take it any longer. She reached out to the authorities, hoping they could help. But when she explained her situation, she was met with skepticism. "You're sure it's him? You're sure this person is actually stalking you?" the officer had asked. Lily's voice shook. Yes. He's been showing up everywhere I go. He knows where I live. He's been watching me." The officer made a note of the complaint, but couldn't promise much. "We'll look into it, but be sure to take precautions. Stay with friends, and if anything escalates, call us immediately." As the days wore on, Ryan's obsession became more apparent. One evening, Lily returned to her apartment after work, only to find the front door slightly ajar. Her heart pounded in her chest as she stood frozen in the doorway, staring at the gap in the doorframe. She stepped inside, cautious, listening for any sound that would tell her if someone was in the apartment. Everything seemed eerily silent, but as her eyes scanned the room, something caught her attention: a small piece of paper on the kitchen table. She picked it up, her hands trembling. It was a note, handwritten in a messy scrawl. "I'm here, Lily. You belong to me now. I won't stop until you realize that." Her breath caught in her throat. This wasn't just some obsession. This was something darker, something dangerous. Lily tried to control her panic, but it was impossible. Her mind raced as she thought of her next move. She grabbed her phone to call Emily, but just as she unlocked it, a new message appeared on the screen. "I'm watching you right now. You can't escape me." And then another message. "You're not alone, Lily. Not anymore." Lily looked up, her heart racing. She heard the faint sound of footsteps behind her. Slow, deliberate. Someone was in her apartment. Lily's pulse raced as the footsteps grew louder. She couldn't think, couldn't breathe. She needed to get out. She turned and bolted toward the door. But just as her hand gripped the handle, it swung open. Standing there was a man she didn't recognize, but something about him sent a chill down her spine. He was tall, broad-shouldered, his face partially obscured by the hood of his sweatshirt. He wasn't Ryan, but his presence felt just as terrifying. "Lily," the man's voice was low, smooth. "You've been ignoring me." She stumbled back, her mind screaming at her to run, but her legs wouldn't move. She was frozen. "You don't know who I am, do you?" the man continued. "It's okay. Ryan told me about you. He said you wouldn't listen to him. He said you wouldn't understand." Lily's heart stopped. Ryan? The man wasn't Ryan, but somehow Ryan was involved. Before she could react, the man took a step toward her. "You should have listened, Lily. Now you're mine. You've always been mine." Lily's breath hitched as she realized the man wasn't alone. There was another figure behind him, Ryan, standing in the shadows. Ryan stepped forward, his eyes wild with obsession. "I told you, Lily, you couldn't escape me." Lily felt the cold grip of terror tighten around her chest. She needed to escape. This wasn't just stalking anymore. Ryan had brought someone else into the madness, and now it was clear that he wouldn't stop until she was trapped forever. With no time to think, Lily ran. She burst through the door and sprinted down the hallway, hearing the man's footsteps following her. She couldn't breathe, couldn't think, only move. She reached the stairs and rushed down, but as she turned the corner to the building's exit, she ran straight into another figure, a woman. She screamed, stumbling back. "Lily," the woman said in a low, cold voice, "you can't hide from us." Lily stared in horror as she realized this wasn't just Ryan's obsession, it was a web of people, all connected by the same twisted need for control. And as she looked into their eyes, she knew there was no escape. Lily's heart pounded in her chest as the woman in front of her stepped closer, blocking her escape. She tried to retreat, but her back hit the wall. Panic surged in her veins. She looked desperately around, but there was no way out. Ryan's menacing figure loomed behind the woman, and she could feel his presence even without looking at him. "Who are you?" Lily managed to force out, her voice trembling. The woman smirked. "You really don't get it, do you? Lily's mind raced. She couldn't let these people get any closer, but she had no idea what they wanted from her. Why was Ryan so obsessed? Why had he brought this woman into the nightmare? "I'm Vanessa," the woman said, her voice unnervingly calm. "Ryan's been, well, let's say we've been in touch. He's told me all about you, Lily. He said you wouldn't understand him, but we'll make sure you do soon enough." Lily recoiled. "You're crazy. You all are insane. Why are you doing this?" Vanessa's eyes darkened. "It's not about you, Lily. It's about control. Ryan wants to show you how much he loves you. He believes you're meant to be with him, whether you like it or not. And now, you'll see just how far we'll go to make that happen." Before Lily could respond, Ryan spoke up from behind Vanessa. His voice was soft, almost soothing. "Lily, please, understand. You need to be with me. I've been following your every move, watching over you. All I want is for you to realize that we're perfect for each other. You've been avoiding me, but I can't let you go, not anymore." Lily's heart raced as she realized the full extent of the danger she was in. Ryan and Vanessa were both trapped in a sick, twisted game, and she was their prey. "Why are you doing this?" Lily cried, desperate. "What do you want from me?" Ryan's face softened, and for a brief moment, Lily thought she saw a flicker of humanity behind his eyes, but it disappeared just as quickly. "I don't want you to suffer, Lily. I just want you to love me. Is that so hard to understand?" Vanessa moved closer to Lily, her cold hand brushing her cheek. "You'll understand soon, Lily. We'll make sure of it. You'll see. You'll love him just as much as he loves you." Lily wanted to scream, but she knew that would only escalate things further. She needed to think, to find a way out of this nightmare. But time was running out. Lily barely slept that night. She lay in bed at Emily's apartment, her mind racing. Ryan and Vanessa's words echoed in her head, but something inside her refused to believe it was over. She wasn't going to let them win. She couldn't. She had to get away. It was the only thing she could think of that would give her any chance at freedom. But how? Ryan and Vanessa were clearly willing to go to any lengths to keep her under their control. She needed a plan, and she needed it fast. The next morning, Emily called to check on her, but Lily barely recognized her own voice as she spoke. "Emily, I don't know what to do. They've been to my apartment. They've been watching me. I don't think I'm safe anywhere." Emily's voice was tight with concern. "Lily, you need to go to the police again. This is serious. You need help, okay?" But Lily wasn't sure the police would be able to do anything, not after her last interaction with them. They hadn't taken her seriously, but what other choice did she have? If she didn't act fast, she might never escape Ryan's suffocating grip. She took a deep breath and made up her mind. She would call the police again, but this time she would be ready. She would have all the proof she needed to take down Ryan and Vanessa. No more hiding, no more running. But when she reached for her phone, her screen lit up with a new message from Ryan. Her heart dropped into her stomach. "I know where you are, Lily. You can't run anymore. I'm already on my way." The message was followed by a picture of her standing in Emily's living room. She hadn't told him where she was. How had he found her? Before she could even respond, another message came through. "It's time for us to be together," her eyes widening in horror as she heard the faint sound of footsteps approaching her front door. Someone was at the door. Lily's mind spun. She was running out of time. The footsteps outside the door were growing louder, and she knew that if Ryan or Vanessa, maybe both of them, were outside, she would have no way to escape. She glanced around Emily's apartment, searching for anything she could use to defend herself. But there was nothing. No weapons, no exit strategy. Her phone buzzed again. Another message from Ryan. "I'm here. I'm outside your door. Come to me, Lily." Her hands shook as she reached for the door handle. She knew she had to act fast. There was no more waiting, no more hoping for someone to save her. She had to save herself. She grabbed her purse and rushed toward the window, praying that she could make it out without being seen. But as she pulled back the curtain, her heart stopped. There was Ryan, standing across the street, staring up at her window, his eyes locked onto hers. Lily's breath caught in her throat as she realized something horrifying. Ryan wasn't alone anymore. There were more people with him, vanishing into the shadows, their faces hidden, waiting for the signal. It wasn't just Ryan. It was a whole network of people who had been stalking her for weeks, perhaps longer. She wasn't just a victim of Ryan's obsession. She was caught in a web of terrifying darkness, and there was no one to help her. With no time left to think, Lily bolted for the back door. But as she yanked it open, she was met with the cold, unforgiving sight of a man standing there. Someone she didn't recognize, someone who was clearly waiting for her. Lily's world seemed to collapse around her. The man at the back door was a complete stranger, but he held a chilling familiarity in his eyes. She backed away, her heart pounding in her chest. "Lily," the man said, his voice calm but unyielding. "You don't know me, but I know you, and I know Ryan. He's not your only problem." Lily's mind reeled. Was this another one of Ryan's followers? Another part of the twisted group that had been tormenting her? "I don't want to hurt you," the man continued, stepping closer. "I'm here to offer you a choice." Lily looked into his eyes, desperate for answers. "What choice?" she whispered. His response was as cold as it was final. "Leave. Now. If you stay, you'll never escape." Lily's mind was spinning. She had no idea what to do. The man standing in front of her had just given her a choice, but she didn't know what that choice meant, nor did she trust him. Ryan had already made it clear that there was no escaping him, and now it seemed like this stranger too was part of the nightmare. "You don't have much time, Lily," the man said, his voice still as calm as ever, but there was an urgency hidden behind his words. "I'm not part of Ryan's group, but I'm not going to let him destroy you either. You need to leave. Now." Lily backed away, shaking her head. "Who are you? How do you know me? How do you know Ryan?" Her voice was a whisper, barely audible, filled with disbelief. The man stepped closer, his eyes dark and determined. "I'm someone who's been tracking Ryan for a while. I've seen the damage he's done. He's dangerous. But if you stay, you'll become a part of his game. If you leave now, I can help you. But if you stay, this won't end well. Not for you." Lily's throat tightened. "I can't just run away. I can't leave everything behind." His gaze softened, but his tone was firm. "You have no choice. Ryan won't stop until he has you under his control. I can't stop him, but I can get you away from him. You have to trust me, Lily. For your own safety, you have to trust me." Lily's breath caught in her throat as she thought of everything she had already lost. The peace of mind, the sense of safety, the life she had before this nightmare began. She looked at the man, then back to the door, where she knew Ryan was waiting. "What if I don't leave?" she asked, the words tasting like poison on her tongue. "What happens then?" The man didn't answer immediately. Instead, he gave her a long, measuring look. "If you stay, Ryan will find you. He'll drag you back into his twisted world, and by then, you won't be able to escape him." Lily's heart was pounding in her chest. Was there even a way out? Was this stranger lying to her? Was she about to make the biggest mistake of her life? The man took a step closer, his eyes locking onto hers. "If you don't leave now, You'll never be free of him. I'm your only chance to survive." Lily's hands trembled as she turned toward the door, her mind racing. Could she trust him? Was this the end, or was this her final opportunity to escape? Lily couldn't think. Her emotions were a whirlwind of fear, disbelief, and exhaustion. But somewhere deep inside her, something urged her to trust this man. If she didn't act now, there might not be another chance. Taking a deep breath, she looked back at the stranger. "Okay, I'll go with you." The man's expression softened, but he nodded, urgency still in his eyes. "Good. We don't have much time." Lily grabbed her purse, stuffing her phone, wallet, and a few other necessities inside. She didn't think. She just moved. The weight of everything that had happened felt too heavy for her to carry any longer. She had to escape. She had to leave it all behind. As she opened the back door and stepped outside, the man gestured toward a nearby alley.
"This way," he said, his voice low. "Stay close, and don't look back." They moved quickly, silently, like shadows in the night. Lily's breath was sharp, her mind clouded with fear. She couldn't help but wonder if she was making a terrible mistake. If Ryan was still watching, if this stranger was really someone she could trust. But there was no turning back. They couldn't go back to her apartment. They couldn't go back to Ryan. The only option was to keep moving forward. As they turned a corner, the man stopped. "Listen carefully," he said, his voice urgent. "You need to get out of the city. I have a safe place for you. I can help you, but you can't stay here. Ryan is dangerous, and if he finds you..." Lily nodded quickly, not trusting herself to speak. They walked in silence for several more minutes before the man led her to a car parked in a dark corner of the alley. "This is your only shot," he said, opening the door. "Get in. We leave now." Lily hesitated for a moment before getting into the car, her heart still racing. She looked up at the man as he slid into the driver's seat. "Where are we going?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. "Somewhere safe," he replied. "Away from him. Away from this." As the car sped off, Lily's phone buzzed in her purse. She pulled it out, her stomach dropping as she saw the name on the screen. It was Ryan. She hesitated before answering, but she had no choice. "Lily," Ryan's voice crackled through the speaker, his tone smooth but filled with menace. "I told you, you can't escape me. You will never escape." Lily gripped the phone, her hands shaking. She couldn't look back. She couldn't go back to him. "I'm already gone," she whispered, her voice trembling. The car sped through the city, the streets becoming a blur as they raced toward whatever safety the man had promised. But even as Lily sat in the passenger seat, trying to calm her breathing, the feeling of dread never left her. It wasn't over. Not yet. The phone call from Ryan had been the final warning. She knew he wouldn't stop until he had her back under his control. She was nothing but a possession to him. As they left the city behind, Lily looked out the window, trying to push the fear from her mind. The farther they drove, the more uncertain she became. Had she made the right choice? Was this man truly trying to help her? Or was he part of the web Ryan had created? But just as she was about to ask, the man's voice broke through her thoughts. "They'll come after us, Lily," he said, his voice calm but grim. "You know they will. Ryan won't stop until he finds you. You can't let your guard down. Lily nodded, feeling a sick sense of realization settle in her gut. She wasn't safe. Not yet. But maybe, just maybe, this was her only shot. As the road stretched out ahead of them, Lily couldn't shake the feeling that something far worse was coming. Ryan had shown her the darkness of obsession, but she didn't know just how deep that darkness went, and she didn't know if she would ever truly escape it. The car came to an abrupt halt as the man slammed on the brakes. "They're here," he whispered. Lily turned her head just in time to see the headlights of several cars approaching in the distance. Ryan had found them. The man grabbed Lily's arm, pulling her from the car as quickly as he could. The headlights were blinding, and Lily's heart raced with terror. This was it. Ryan was here, and she had nowhere left to run. "We're not done yet, Lily," the man said, his grip firm as he pulled her toward an old cabin in the distance. "Get inside. Lock the door. Don't let them in." But Lily wasn't sure she could trust anyone anymore. Her fear was consuming her, and the thought of being trapped with nowhere to hide was almost too much to bear. As they reached the cabin, a familiar voice echoed from the darkness. "Lily, you can't hide from me." Ryan had arrived, and this time he wouldn't let her go. The cabin door slammed shut behind them, its thick wooden frame creaking under the weight of Lily's panic. She felt the chill of the night air seeping into her skin as she backed into the dimly lit room. Every creak of the floorboards, every gust of wind outside sent a fresh wave of terror crashing over her. Ryan was close. She could feel it. The man who had helped her, whose name she still didn't know, was standing by the door, his eyes scanning the darkness. "Lock it, now," he urged, his voice tight with urgency. Lily's hands shook as she grabbed the rusty bolt and slid it into place, her mind racing. Ryan was here. He was closer than ever, and this time there was nowhere to run. The man by the door wasn't her savior. He was just another piece of this twisted game. Had she made the wrong choice? A loud crash echoed from the woods behind the cabin. A branch snapped, followed by the unmistakable sound of footsteps, slow and deliberate, as if Ryan was savoring the chase. Her heart pounded harder as the realization sank in. No one was coming to save her. She had to save herself. The man beside her turned to face her. His eyes were filled with determination, but there was something else, something that made her hesitate. His gaze flicked to the back window, and Lily saw the gleam of something metallic in his hand. A knife. "What are you going to do with that?" she whispered, the words barely escaping her lips. The man's face hardened, his voice cold. "I'm going to do what I should have done a long time ago. I'm going to make sure Ryan never finds you." Lily's stomach churned as she backed away from him. You're with him, aren't you?" The man stepped forward, his face contorting in anger. "I'm not with him, but I've been keeping track of him. I know what he's capable of, and you don't know the full story." "He won't stop, Lily. He's obsessed. He'll kill anyone who gets in his way, including you." Lily's breath caught in her throat. "What do you mean? He's obsessed with me. He's been stalking me for weeks." The man's eyes grew dark. "That's only part of it. Ryan isn't just obsessed with you, Lily. He's been tracking you for a reason. He doesn't want you. He needs you. You're the final piece of his twisted game." Lily's blood ran cold. "What game?" He stepped closer, his voice soft, almost sympathetic. "He's been building something bigger than just the two of you. You're part of it. He's been gathering people for months, getting them to do his bidding. He has a plan, and you're the last part of it."
A horrifying thought crossed her mind. You're saying I'm just a pawn in his game, a piece for him to use? The man nodded slowly. You're not the first. You won't be the last. Lily couldn't breathe. Her legs felt weak beneath her. No, I won't let him control me. Suddenly, there was a loud crash at the back door. Ryan had made it inside. Lily's pulse raced. She had seconds to decide. She looked at the man with the knife. Could she trust him? Or was she about to make the biggest mistake of her life? Before she could decide, the back door flew open, and Ryan stepped into the cabin, his eyes wild with obsession. "Lily!" he called out, his voice a sickening mix of desire and madness. "You can't run from me. You belong with me. Forever." Lily's stomach twisted in fear. She was caught between two terrifying choices, Ryan and the man who claimed to be her protector. But she had no time to think. Ryan was here, and the endgame was fast approaching. Ryan's eyes locked onto hers, his gaze filled with sick affection. "You've made this harder than it needed to be, Lily," he said, his voice eerily calm. "But it doesn't matter. You'll come back to me. I'll make sure of it." Lily took a step back, her pulse roaring in her ears. She was cornered, trapped between two predators, but as she glanced over at the man with the knife, something in her snapped. "You won't take me," she said, her voice trembling but firm. Ryan stepped closer, his eyes narrowing. "You have no choice." The man with the knife moved quickly, stepping between Ryan and Lily, his posture protective. "Leave her alone, Ryan," he spat, his grip tightening around the handle of the blade. "She's not going anywhere with you." Ryan's lips curled into a twisted smile. "You think you can stop me? I'm everywhere, always watching. She's mine, and you're in my way." The man's voice was steady but filled with a cold fury. "Not this time." Without warning, the man lunged forward, slashing the knife at Ryan. The sound of steel cutting through the air echoed in the small cabin. Ryan dodged, narrowly avoiding the strike, and the two men locked eyes, their hatred for each other palpable. Lily stood frozen, watching the two of them. This wasn't the man she had trusted. This was another part of her nightmare, another piece of the twisted game, but it was too late to turn back now. The struggle was violent. Ryan lunged again, but the man with the knife met him head-on. Lily's breath caught as she watched the chaos unfold before her eyes. She couldn't believe this was happening. She couldn't believe her life had come to this. Suddenly, there was a flash of light. The sharp crack of a gunshot echoed in the cabin. Both men froze. Lily turned, her eyes wide in shock as the gunshot rang out. A third figure stood at the doorway. It was a police officer, his face grim as he aimed the weapon at Ryan. "Freeze!" the officer shouted. "Put your hands up!" Ryan's eyes widened, his hands raised in the air as the officer approached. "You're done, Ryan. It's over." Lily's knees buckled, and she collapsed to the floor in a mix of shock and relief. She was free, finally. Ryan was arrested, the officers taking him away. The man with the knife stepped back, lowering the blade, his face unreadable. Lily looked at him, unsure of what to say. "You don't have to thank me," he said, his voice surprisingly soft. "But you're safe now." Lily swallowed hard, still trembling. "I don't know if I can ever thank you enough." The man nodded, his eyes filled with something like regret. "You've been through too much. It's time to start over." In the weeks that followed, Lily tried to rebuild her life. She moved far away from the city, leaving behind everything that had once felt familiar. The man who had helped her disappeared as mysteriously as he had arrived, leaving no trace of his existence. Ryan was locked away, but the damage he had done would never fully heal. But Lily was free. She was finally free to start over, to live a life that was hers and hers alone. The past would always haunt her, but now she could look ahead. And for the first time in a long while, Lily felt hope. Real hope. The kind that comes when you know that the darkest chapter of your life is over. Lily's nightmare was over, but there are countless others who are still trapped in toxic relationships. If you or someone you know is being stalked or manipulated, reach out for help. You are not alone. Stay safe and always trust your instincts. If you found this story chilling and want to hear more true crime tales filled with suspense and twists, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more gripping stories. Hit the bell icon so you never miss an update, and let us know in the comments. Have you ever experienced something like this? How did you handle it?